Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Addiction Activist, Addiction Recovery Messages of Hope. Today, I want to talk a little bit about service. I had a very interesting experience the other night. I was given an opportunity to go into an adolescent treatment facility and talk to some younger kids, some younger gentlemen, and it was, it's always an honor and a privilege when anyone asks me to go in and to speak and to share my experience, strength, and hope with anybody. But something happened for me personally as a result of this opportunity. It was really interesting. I went in, with my little spiel, and I sat down at this table with about 10 young men in between the ages of 14 and 17, and something really happened for me. It affected me. It affected me emotionally when I sat down and these young men walked into the room, and it took me back to my younger years and the time that I spent in facilities of that nature, and it was emotional for me, and it was refreshing, and it was inspiring for me and motivating for me to go back to that place emotionally where I once was and when I was stuck and trying to figure this thing out, navigating life, so to speak. So, I shared a little bit of my story with these young men, and it was quite evident that some of these young men were touched by some of my story, and that for me is so important whenever I'm talking to somebody or sharing with somebody or doing anything, it's about that heart connection, and for me that's what service is all about. It's selflessly giving of myself to help another individual that may be somewhere on this journey that I have been, or where I'm at, or where I'm going to, and it's very rewarding. And I can tell you, my personal service is typically done, on a group level, and I take service to a whole new level because I don't limit my service to, say, to the arena of recovery. I like to believe that I practice diligently to be of service to mankind, just on an everyday deal. And one of the things that my sponsor taught me very early in my journey of recovery is that, doing something nice for somebody else without expecting anything in return is a form of service. And I was in a bad way one day, and he suggested to me that, why don't you go hang out at 7-Eleven for about an hour and just open the door for strangers. And I did that. And I'm telling you, something happened for me in that process that was really eye-opening, and it was just the reciprocal feeling that I got when I was smiling and opening the door for other people, and the smile that they received back was something I'd never really experienced that before. It was just some simple act of kindness for another human being, it was just amazing because, I'd been taking for so long, and just to give back, a simple gesture of opening a door for a person was it was a turning point. It was a pivot point for me in my life, and I really began to realize, how much these random acts of kindness can ripple through the world and make a positive impact on what I'm trying to do today, which is make an impact in the world and create change, and it's so powerful, and it can come through just the simplest little things, and it's really quite amazing. But I'll go back to that experience the other night at that adolescent facility. It wasn't something that I really expected to experience, sharing with those young men. But I'm telling you, it's affected me for days later as I continue to, look back at that time in my life and how lost I was, and how much I needed some guidance and some support and some direction. And I hope that I was able to do that for those young men that night, and I'd like to believe that I was. So I think it's a win. For me, I get to grow as I look back on my past, and hopefully I, create some type of spark for change, for inspiration, to help somebody see that, this is not the end of the road. There's still so much more to come. So I challenge you today. Random acts of kindness are acts of service. Opening the door for somebody at 7-Eleven, letting somebody out of the parking lot when you're at the stoplight and it's your turn to go. Those are really simple acts, and smiling at people when you meet them or pass them in the grocery store or whatever it is. It's these small, simple acts of kindness that can make a huge impact on someone's life. Taking the time to talk with a newcomer, taking the time to talk with someone who's struggling, these selfless acts of kindness truly can make a difference. I'm a firm believer of this because I witness it and I practice it on a regular basis. So I challenge you today to practice random acts of kindness, that small piece of service. It doesn't have to be something big. It doesn't have to be something grandiose. It doesn't have to be any of that stuff. Sometimes it's just a simple smile. Sometimes it's just, like I said, opening a door or letting somebody in traffic or whatever it may be. Doing the dishes this morning for my wife. When I woke up this morning, we had a bunch of dishes in the sink. I just did them because, I know that she's going to get up and she's probably going to make me breakfast, one of her little selfless acts that she does for me on a regular basis. And it sure would be nice to have a clean kitchen to get to do it in. So I do those little things, and that's just the stuff within my household. And, so we always have, there's always some type of opportunity to touch someone else's life in a positive way. And once again, it doesn't have to be something very big or grandiose, but I challenge you today, man, to try this. Try just smiling, try just these random acts of kindness, and see how it makes you feel. I have found great immense amounts of fulfillment in doing this on a regular basis. I continue to do it, and I think today is just one of those times where I get to share that with you, and I appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. If this video struck a chord with you, share it on social media, comment, like. I don't care. It doesn't really matter. I'd like to start a conversation on what service means to you, and never forget, always remember, with passion, purpose, and perseverance, we can make a difference. I'll see you next time. Have a wonderful day. Thanks.